Get to making with jive, boy. Stay shy. When it hits you, yes.
Welcome to the Bougie Duchess. This is a segment of Café con Leche. And today I have Danny with me. Say hi to everybody, Danny. There's the camera.
Hi.
There you go. Alrighty. So we are going to go ahead and do. Well, I told Danny that he's going to be helping me today with my Hot Topic segment. And so we're doing a little dry run, and we're going to do it with Café con Leche. So I'm going to show him a little bit of how it works and how I set things up. So right at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and post to my Facebook page, Café. Okay, so con leche, segment now. Alrighty, and then I put a little dot, and then Control V. It will pop that up, and I post it to my news feed. And since it's going on live, I don't know why it's not showing the live segment going on at the moment. So, it should. Let's see. Control V. If that doesn't, no, it doesn't do it. Okay. So we have that going on right at the moment. Let me get my café con leche. Alrighty. So Danny.
Yes.
No, you look that way. You got to pay attention to the audience. So I know you think you're having a conversation with me, but you're having an actual conversation with them. And so here, let's go back to live producer. There, Juan says hi guys.
Oh, hi Juan.
I love Juan, and he recently posted this gorgeous picture of himself. Just gorgeous. I love all of that. And so, here we go. Now, Danny told me my coffee was mediocre today. So I haven't had a chance to try it. I'm actually kind of surprised by that statement. So I'm going to find out for myself. He may not have liked, I use these syrups in it, these, they're made by Tirani, and they add a lot of flavor to the coffee when I'm brewing them. And I use a percolator, and I have all kinds of flavors. I've got French vanilla, I've got chocolate, I've got just all kinds of flavors, like raspberry. I think the flavor that I put in this one was caramel, so I'm not quite sure. He may be right, it may be mediocre, but I'm getting ready to find out.
No, good.
Oh, he loves his sister. There you go. See, there's already some support for you.
I love you too.
Right there on the station. So, I think one of the things that I told Danny, he wanted to know what the topics were about. And since this is his first time actually doing a vlog and participating in a situation where there might be comments coming back and forth, I got me a new chair.
Yeah.
Yes, I get to roll around a little bit. So, one of the things I told him is that, we'll do a dry run here with Café con Leche. Café con Leche. I don't know what you're talking about. This coffee is excellent. It is dark brewed, and it'll make your scalp crawl within a little bit of time. So we just came back from our walk, and I had told him that some of the topics we are going to be talking about on Hot Topics are, you know, we are going to be talking about Juneteenth and the continuation of systemic prejudice here in the United States of America. And it's something that has been growing in the shadows of America since day one, since those pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock and they swindled the Native Americans out of the Isle of Manhattan for $8 worth of beads. And the Native Americans, they didn't understand the concept of ownership. Because, see, their idea of ownership is whatever you can pick up and carry with you, then you own that. But they felt like land, air, and water, you couldn't own these things because they were just there to be used, not there for you to own. So they had a different concept of what ownership meant. But then these pilgrims started putting up fences and barbed wire and prohibiting Native Americans from accessing this property. These were their hunting grounds. And then all of a sudden they got a dose of reality and an understanding of what the white man meant as ownership. And then eventually white men introduced slavery to the continents of the America. Because, and there may have been some type of form of slavery going on here in America, just not in the way that the institution that white America introduced to the continent of America. And so that we're going to be talking about that systemic issue. And believe one thing, that is an umbrella issue. It is a broad and wide issue. Have you ever, you're in college now. You're going to college, you're getting what?
Just a degree in sociology.
A degree in sociology. And so are you having these discussions yet in your sociology classes?
We're talking more about the general, like, societal institutions and where the beliefs and behaviors affect those, like, institutions in general.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, when I was at Pierce College, I had one of the best sociology professors, James McKeever. This man opened up my eyes, and I remember one day he asked, what are some of the myths that we understand in society, you know, and you know, he threw some things out there, and you know, that kind of changed my focus a little bit as to what, as a group of individuals, we believe, you know. And so, you know, I think as immigrants, we believe there's an American dream. We believe that there's a better life for us. But I think as I'm first generation Latino. Are you first generation Latino? Were you born here?
I was.
Oh, okay, so you didn't come sneaking across the border. You're not a DACA.
No.
I see, okay, so there we go. This may be a little politically incorrect, but I kind of feel that this conversation kind of needs to happen. So we're both first generation Latino Americans.
Yes.
Now, I kind of believe that just by stating that we're Latino Americans, we've already separated ourselves into a subgroup of Americans. And I have already come to accept that I might not be entitled to the very same things that my counterpart, white Americans, are entitled to. These are myths. Personally, I do not believe these things. But I think systemically, it's going on. And so those are some of the issues we're going to be addressing. And I think these issues permeate throughout different social groups in the community. Not only am I a Latino American, but for a period of time, I still do belong to the LGBTQ community because I'm bisexual. I'm not engaged in any kind of sexual activity, so it may be debatable if I really do belong to the community. Because I kind of feel like maybe I should be engaged in sexual activity, but as far as my preference goes, I love men and women equally. So I belong to the LGBTQ community. And so, you know, in that respect, I'm under that umbrella. And I feel that in the Latino community, I'm not looked at as an equal, but as a subcategory. So those are some of the things we're going to be discussing about the systemic prejudice. I don't want to name it racism because it's going on in our own community. So those are the issues I'd like to address in the systemic prejudices that are going on in the USA. And then phase 3 in LA, because I live here in Los Angeles. Many of you live in other places. I know phase 3 happened in Georgia some time ago, you know, and COVID-19 started to rise, as it is rising here in LA. So now you work at a place where you deal with these numbers, don't you?
Yes.
You want to give them a free little plug-in?
No. Well, I mean, with the stay-at-home orders kind of being lifted, of course, as we've all seen, everything's kind of going back to normal, so to speak. And, of course, the numbers are going to be going up. There's been several more cases where I work where they're showing up saying that they've already been in contact with somebody that's been positive or positive themselves at one point. So, of course, this virus is not going anywhere, and it just also shows the idea that, I guess, like, how capitalistic really this, like, America is in terms of putting businesses and money first versus keeping the health of others as a priority. We've already seen everyone else kind of like going to the beaches, kind of living like, and kind of living like, again, a normal life, just as if there was nothing that had happened before. People are already going out without masks, even here right now, we're without masks. So, I mean, it's a little more lax, and in terms of the numbers, I don't know specifically, but I know that more of the incidences of people coming in with, again, having been exposed to someone with coronavirus or having coronavirus themselves at one point, that number has gone up. And
well, and there's so much more that we're understanding about COVID-19. There are people that are asymptomatic that are carrying the virus, but are unaffected by the virus, which is just, you know, a remarkable way for this virus to spread at an astronomical rate. Because if I feel like I'm healthy and I can run around without a mask on, the potential for me to expose so many other people this way is just amazing.
yes.
So that will also be another topic that we'll be touching on when we're talking about COVID-19. And then finally, disclosure. We're going to be talking about disclosure on multiple fronts, multiple levels, about multiple things. There's so many things that we can disclose about that maybe we don't disclose about.
Right.
Now, you know, I've gone through my gender affirming surgery, and you know, I'm getting ready to start dating again. And so, do I disclose? Do I let a man know that, hey, this genitalia was not always... Now, number one, there's something strange about my genitalia, okay? It is virginal in appearance. A 55-year-old woman's genitalia should have gone through some wear and tear over the decades, and my vag is very pristine looking and really is representational of teenage vag.
Oh my God.
Disclosure is going to have to be part of the conversation, because a guy's going to look at that and he's going to say, wow, looks spanking brand new to me. So, you know, I can see how that might be an important part of a conversation. But how do I know that that's going to sit well with a man? You know, so many men have other issues going on, and usually my first encounter with individuals, I don't know. You know, but one thing I do, you know, there was a time, a day and age, when I used to be very stealth, and I disguised my voice, and you would barely catch that I was transgender, and I could get away with it. I'm not going to do that anymore. That is not the kind of life I lead or live today. Because of recovery, I'm more forthcoming, upfront, and honest in all of my affairs. And that would also include my sexual affairs. So this disclosure process is near and dear to my heart. How about you? Do you disclose? Do you disclose anything?
Right.
Do you let them know if you're a top or a bottom?
Oh my
What
God.
is it that you disclose? Do you disclose that you're versatile? I mean, I don't understand the dilemma that maybe a gay boy might go through
Yeah, I mean,
in disclosure, you know?
Well, you bring up a good point about being honest, and I think that's an important part of generally, like, any interrelationship or, like, you know, like communication kind of thing. I guess, like, I mean, I kind of go off the basis that, like, there's already an assumption that I'm a bottom. You know? So there's no, like...
No! Surprise!
Oh my God. So, the idea that, of disclosing that, I mean, it doesn't really come up as much of, like, a pressing issue. But then again, that brings up a whole other set of questions, or kind of like ideals where I'm profiling myself and others. You know, like, oh, you kind of give, like, or match a description of what I think is a bottom, you kind of match a description of what I think is a top, so I'm going to go for you. So maybe it is something that I should start incorporating into disclosure. I mean, like, even though, like, because just because I know that I'm a bottom, doesn't always mean that other people will assume the same thing, you know?
Well, but disclosure might happen, like, you may be in a scenario where the individual might not even know that you're gay.
Right.
And you might find him attractive.
Oh my God.
What do you do at that moment in time? You don't even know. He might be straight.
Yeah.
How do you get around to saying, hey, I think you're kind of cute, I'd like to possibly go on a date with you?
Oh my God. Well, I don't think I've ever really done that.
You've always played it really safe,
yeah,
and gone to areas where you know
right,
that they're looking for a gay boy.
yes.
Oh.
So that's also like I think
Hello, Ernesto. We're going to have a conversation that's going to interest you. It's going to be starting in about 15 minutes. on Hot Topics Live. So, and we're going to be giving a free little plug-in to El Proyecto de la Barrio. Hopefully you'll join us for that topic. Oh!
It's true.
Yes.
The allegations.
It takes one to know one, dear.
But, like, in terms of disclosing that, that becomes a whole other set of problems, you know, like where not knowing the sexual orientation of the other person involved and wondering what kind of experiences, what kind of beliefs they might have, like a whole lot of other variables come into effect where is it probably wise of me to say anything about my sexuality?
I get it.
Or is it wise for me to even go for it in a sense, because also the fear of rejection comes into play as a variable for me. So there's already tons of variables that are going to set up that one situation, which I think is also things that kind of like a playground that sets up the of what's going on with coronavirus, as well as systemic prejudice, you know. And you've also brought up a good point in that just because we might not be experiencing it on an individual level doesn't mean that it's not happening in a societal level, which is
Good point. So hold that thought. I want to thank you all for joining us for some Café con Leche. We're going to be back in about 10 minutes. I've got to go paint a quick little face. And we will be back for Hot Topics Live on the Bougie Duchess. There we go. Ernesto. So, thank you for joining us. Peace out, my little Dutchie. Love you.